Guatemala changed my life. I visited for just 1 week back in 2022, and since then I've gone from being a New York City filmmaker to a full-time world traveler. But why? What is it about Guatemala that had such a drastic impact on me? Out of all the nations in the world, why Guatemala? The question had been gnawing at me for years, and it's what made me decide to go back. And this time, I wasn't going to be visiting for just 1 week. I was going to stay in Guatemala until I found the answer. My name is Josh, and I'm a digital nomad who lives in a new country every single month. And the home base that I created for myself this time was in the stunningly beautiful and historical town of La Antigua, Guatemala. For me, choosing where to stay was easy. Antigua is where I stayed in 2022, and if I was going to find any real answers, it's where I needed to stay again. Since that first visit, the city of Antigua has become popular all over social media. A former hidden gem, these days you're probably seeing photos and videos of it all over Instagram and TikTok. The colorful buildings, the Santa Catalina Arch, and the cobblestone streets are all a part of that. But I think that the real reason that it's becoming more and more popular is because it is located smack dab in between 3 different volcanoes. Their names are Agua, meaning water, Fuego, meaning fire, and Acatenango, meaning walled place. Now that I had gotten all settled in, if I was going to find any answers, I had to start retracing my steps. And while there are so many incredible things to do and see around Antigua, I knew one big part of my answer would come in the form of these volcanoes. A 4th nearby volcano, known as Pacaya, provides tourists with a very special experience. You can choose to hike your way near the top as a day trip, or for an extra fee, you can ride a horse. Now, especially with the altitude, I wasn't too keen on hiking, but at the same time, I had never once ridden a horse in my entire life. I had to make a choice. With some steady guidance from the locals, I chose to ride the horse, and it was absolutely breathtaking. Once you arrive near the top, you even have the opportunity to roast marshmallows over an active lava pit. Some tours will even bake an entire pizza over lava. If you're interested in trying that out for yourself, I promise that you will love it. I'm putting a booking link for you down in the description below. I rode a horse up Pacaya, I roasted marshmallows on a volcano, and I saw the gorgeous view overlooking Guatemala. At the time, it was undoubtedly the most I had ever pushed myself out of my comfort zone. But I had rarely tried something totally new, something that scared me. This scared me, and I liked it. Guatemala was the first place I ever visited where it felt like I was on a proper adventure. And let me tell you, it's addicting. You know, I was ready for more. And one beautiful thing about Guatemala is that it has more, so much more. Guatemala is a country that spans multiple different types of microclimates. It has these urban spaces as well as incredible historical sites, and there is so much adventure for those who are willing to seek it out. Now that I've been traveling for a while, I try to take what I've learned in Guatemala and apply it to everywhere that I go. Stepping out of my comfort zone always makes for the best trips. This time, I was ready to try new adventures. I flew across the country to Flores, where I would proceed to hike through the jungle at night in order to climb on top of ancient Mayan ruins and watch the sunrise at Tikal. The whole thing nearly killed me, but I made it through. I hopped in a boat to ride back and forth across Lake Atitlan, a couple hours west of Antigua, to see the different cultures and lifestyles represented by the different towns along the lake's shoreline. I ate local food that just absolutely blew my mind. The most simple recipes, like this roasted chicken from a little place in Antigua called Rinconcito Antigueño, are just popping with flavor. In fact, all 3 of those things were such a big deal and were so important to me that I'm making a separate video about each one of them, so be sure that you like and subscribe so you don't miss them when they come out. All of this really it makes you feel like you're living on another tier of existence. Your senses just in general are so heightened in Guatemala that it's hard not to feel like you're experiencing the world in a more rich and fulfilling way. I do think that's a huge part of the reason why I needed to go back. At this point, I had a pretty decent sense on why Guatemala got me hooked, but the Guatemalan property manager at my Airbnb is what sealed the deal. As I was thinking everything over, I decided to take a hike up to an overlook called Cerro de la Cruz, Hill of the Cross. It's a pretty easy hike, but there are quite a few steps.
Hey friends, it's me, and it's back in real life. If I sound out of breath, It's because I am. I'm hiking my way up to Cerro de la Cruz, which is a beautiful lookout point overlooking all of Antigua. Super excited to show it to you.
Like many places within Antigua and Guatemala in general, there is an amazing view up here. The cross at the top overlooks the city, keeping an eye on its inhabitants. It actually faces directly toward the volcano, almost like it's pleading with the volcano for the well-being of the people below. And from what I experienced on both of my trips to Guatemala, that mentality makes perfect sense. See, the big thing is that the people there take care of and look out for each other. And let me clarify that I'm actually talking about two different groups of people here. Firstly, of course, the locals. The property manager at my apartment noticed that I drink a lot of Coke Zero. I guess I was recycling so many bottles that she figured out that I'm a fan. But just for no reason one day, just totally out of nowhere, she stopped by my apartment just to bring me a 2-liter bottle of Coke Zero. She just wanted to do something welcoming and nice. This simple concept of welcoming and looking out for each other is so prevalent among the locals in Guatemala. It's sort of their whole thing. So much so that I think the mentality even starts to rub off on a second group of people. Another group that has made my experiences in Guatemala very special to me. A group of expat Americans who now call Guatemala home. There are a solid number of foreigners who live in Antigua full-time, many of whom are from the United States. And with how, rough things are in the US at the moment, many are choosing to do just that, working remotely and living in Guatemala. Between the locals and the expats, both times that I've been in Guatemala, I have felt such a deep connection to not only the place, but to the people as well. Since that first visit to Guatemala in 2022, I've become a full-time traveler, and I know that without that trip, without getting off the couch and choosing adventure, without riding that horse, I would not be living the life that I am living right now. So yeah, it's not bullshit, it's true. Visiting Guatemala changed my entire life, and so it has a very special place in my heart. If you are from Guatemala, if you live in Guatemala, thank you so much. Gracias por todos. I will be back soon. If you'd like to hear about another amazing adventure I had in Central America, this time with an Uber driver in El Salvador named Carlos, click on the screen now. He showed me around in his Uber, he bought me ice cream, and he is direct proof that there are incredible human beings on every part of this planet if you are willing to go out there and meet them.